There's a dream sitting inside almost every person you've ever met. A business they sketched on a napkin, a book they meant to write, a thing they were meant to do and didn't. Not because they lacked talent, not because the world didn't need what they had, but because they kept waiting. Waiting for the right moment, the right money, the right version of themselves to finally show up and make it real. Morris was that person. He was smart, thoughtful, and full of ideas. But for 7 years, his biggest dream never made it past the Notes app on his phone. Morris had always wanted to build something of his own. A small creative agency, nothing massive, just his eye for design, his knack for storytelling, and a handful of clients who actually cared about good work. He'd thought about it since his mid-20s, had the name picked out, had the logo sketched in a notebook he kept in his desk drawer. But every time he got close to doing something about it, life handed him a perfectly reasonable excuse to wait. A new bill, a promotion at his day job, a girlfriend, then a breakup, then the emotional recovery that followed. There was always something, so Morris waited. He told himself he was being responsible, strategic. He wasn't like those people who just jumped without looking. He was planning, and plans take time. At 31, he told himself he'd start when he turned 32. At 32, he told himself he just needed 6 more months of savings. At 33, he barely thought about it anymore. The notebook stayed in the drawer. The Notes app kept filling up, and Morris kept going to work every Monday like a man who had quietly made peace with a life he never actually chose. It didn't hit him all at once. That's the thing about slow burns, they don't announce themselves. It started with a Sunday afternoon. Morris was clearing out old emails when he stumbled across a thread from 2019, a conversation with a friend who had urged him to just start, even small, even messy. Morris had replied with all the reasons why the timing wasn't right yet. Reading it back 5 years later, Morris felt something strange move through him. Not regret exactly, more like recognition, like seeing a photograph of himself standing at a door he never walked through. He sat with that feeling for a few days. Then, almost without meaning to, he started paying attention differently. He noticed the colleague at work who had launched a side project 2 years ago and had quietly outgrown her salary. He noticed the guy at his gym who ran a small design studio out of his apartment, nothing glamorous, but his. He noticed that none of these people had waited for perfect. They had just started with what they had, where they were, and figured the rest out on the way. And that's when Morris finally asked himself the question he had spent 7 years avoiding. What exactly am I waiting for? Not what was he waiting to have. Not what was he waiting to know. But what was he waiting for, as if some external force was going to tap him on the shoulder one day and say, "Now, Morris. Now is your time." That moment was never coming. Morris understood that now. He didn't quit his job the next morning. He didn't make any dramatic announcements. He just opened his laptop that Sunday evening and sent 3 emails to potential clients. Small steps, real ones. And for the first time in years, the dream in his chest felt less like a wound and more like a direction. Here's what Morris learned, and what most of us learn too late: the right time doesn't exist until you create it. Every single day you wait, you're not standing still, you're drifting. And one day you will look back at exactly this moment, this version of your life, and wish you had started today. Not next year. Not when things calm down. Today. The dream doesn't need you to be ready. It needs you to begin. If this story moved you, subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it today.